Hey everybody, it's Golmadex, and welcome back to the Duskmourn House of Horror Arena Open Day 1 for my third and final attempt. I am out of time and money. My gems and gold have all been sapped from my soul playing competitive sealed. So, worst case scenario, this will be the final run of Duskmourn House of Horror competitive limited this month. I think there's going to be another Duskmourn Arena Open next month. There's one every single month. But next month is November, so Foundations might be out by then, the next set. I'm not 100% sure. I think that's going to be near the end of the month, if it is next month at all. So there's probably another Duskborn Arena open. And then there's always the chance that we day 2 off of this run. We'll see. So fingers crossed. We'll see how it plays out for us as we get done with this final run. Duskborn House of Horror Sealed. Unfortunately, just another 7 rare sealed pools, so certainly not hitting any balmy pools this time around. We do have a Swarm Weaver, a Chainsaw, and Enduring Curiosity for pretty great rares, so that's nice this time around. That said, Demonic Council and the Grimoire are completely unplayable, and Enduring Tenacity is very narrow. Have to be a life gain focused deck for that, so we still got some absolute duds there in the rare slots, but 3 of these are very powerful cards that fit well into any decks in their colors, and if we get to play Swarm Weaver and Chainsaw together, then another one of our rares can just help fix in that deck to get all 3 of these cards together. So, see what we have in our commons and uncommons. Of course, starting with the multicolored stuff to see our fixing, we have a Terramorphic Expanse, we have a green-blue duel, we've got another black-red duel, and a blue-black duel. So, 2 black-red pieces of fixing is nice. We've also got the black-red Skin Ripper there. Any other good colorless stuff? Not really. Machete and Glimmerlight fit into any deck, so just to make playables, those are going to be nice. And then Found Footage is okay if we care a lot about Delirium, which is possible if we are going to go for a Swarm Weaver deck. Green, black, and red, green are the color pairs that play a lot of Delirium cards. So if we go full Jund, splashing in a Swarm Weaver, or splashing in some red in a green-black deck, then Found Footage is playable too, so I like that. And again, we've got the black-red duels towards that. How do our individual colors look here? I'm actually just going to go really speedrunny this time around, and I'm just going to look at it like this. I'm assuming if you're watching a third Arena Open Day 1 attempt, you're probably pretty well versed in the format. We've got double Scavenger out of white, which is excellent with enough enchantments to go with it. We have the entryway for a bunch of Eerie, the double Fear of Mortality to top the curve, even the Glimmer's another good enchantment, plus our removal in the colors enchantment based, 1 trapped in the screen. So decent little start to Eerie there. Did we have any other good uncommons? Fear of Infinity's fine. It's not a white uncommon though. Yeah, it's really the Skin Ripper's my favorite of them, but the Inquisitive Glimmer's also quite good. So 1 good blue-white enchantment's uncommon towards that deck. If we do play that deck, we get the Enduring Curiosity as well. So the big stuff there would be being able to have 2 Optimistic Scavengers, the Glimmer uncommon, and the Enduring Curiosity rare. I think that's all pretty great. Certainly do end up running some filler to get there, though, if I don't do any splashing. And we don't have good fixing to do splashing in this color pair. We'd have to play 1 Expanse, and then a Murky Sewer if we play black as the splash. Wow, I'm still not at playables. Still need 5 more cards. I would definitely have to splash. I guess I play Hardened Escort. Domination's not horrific. Don't make a sound in a Clammy Prowler or something. Yeah, I could fill in some really filler cards to not have to splash. Decent amount of 2-drops. This does not look horrible, because this is another 2-drop as well. But again, it's just a little bit light. It needs 3 more cards in here, so we have to play some pretty bad cards. Or we have to do some splashing, which makes the deck less consistent, which is pretty rough for aggro. Definitely worth considering, though. That looks decent. But overall, the blue is certainly weaker than the white. It's really just got the Curiosity going for it. There's some other cards that are decent filler, like Vanish from Sight, Glimmer Burst, Duskmourn's Domination. That's just if we specifically want to play a blue a lot because of our secondary color. For black, triple Final Vengeance. So if we have good stuff to sacrifice, that's a lot of removal. That's the biggest thing going for black. There's some filler creatures here. A couple more that care about sacrificing, and we've got the red-black sacrifice uncommon, so black actually looks a little better as a support color for red going Rakdos sacrifice. Very similar to how blue looks to our white, where like if we're going Azorius, then our blue's good, but doesn't look great anywhere else. Black looks very similar. If we're going Rakdos, it looks pretty good. Doesn't look good anywhere else. But when we look at the red, we've got a good creature to sack with the Percussionist. It's also a good aggressive creature. We have the excellent Chainsaw. Some more good removal with Glassworks. Some decent 2-drops on curve. Hand That Feeds, Gremlin, and Piggy Bank. Gremlin and Piggy Bank being the really good ones there. Solid little start towards maybe Rakdos splashing in the green. Some combination of Jund looks pretty legit here. That Fear of Burning Alive at the top of the curve is also pretty spectacular. The biggest reason to play green here as a color looks like double Moldering Gems, that if green is one of our core colors, it can easily get us to the full Jund off of that extra fixing that it gives us. So that's nice. But the mana curve in green is pretty bad. There's one pretty great removal spell, and outside of that, it's mostly just there for the fixing. There's a solid 5-drop, a solid 3-drop, but nothing super, super exciting there. It's just there to get us to the Swarm Weaver and have more fixing in the deck. Yeah, I think it's just going in the Jund direction off these multicolored cards, really. So that is what I'm going to look towards here. Let's look at them one by one here. What if we go Rakdos here? This is 47 cards without artifacts or green spells right now. It's pretty quick cuts. I guess there's the one Swarm Weaver. These Cackling Slashers are really bad, Enduring Tenacity is really bad. We've got no... When we have a tiny bit of life gain, but not enough. Vicious Clown's not great. Actually not doing great on having permanents to sacrifice. There's some cards that really help out. Some of the rooms that are like sorceries, like Glassworks, are really helpful. But there's another one that's Ticket Room. That's a 3-mana room that makes a 2/2. There's another one that's a 3-mana draw 2. We don't have like any of that to have a bunch of rooms left over. We just have the one Glassworks. So I'm not super happy with the amount of sacking we can do consistently here. So I think just going pure black-red sack synergy is not going to be fantastic. We have some expendable creatures, but a bit low for a deck running 2 Egotists, a Skin Ripper, and triple Final Vengeance. And I have all these I'd like to cut. Yeah, it is looking like green at the core is going to be more of a thing. Maybe splash the black. So our best black card is by far the Swarm Weaver, and then it's Vile Mutilator. That is double black, so it's harder to splash. But we could just splash like Swarm Weaver and some Final Vengeances if I need more removal. And those play well with it. Oh, and we can splash the Skin Ripper as well. So if we throw green in here as a core color instead, go green, red, splash black. Double Fear of Exposure to go with Defiant Survivor makes it a little more playable. These are super filler. This is super filler. We're like really good at Delirium here. We have enchantments in here, we have artifacts in here, we have a little self-mill, we have a little manifest. I guess really good is an overstatement, but better than we need to be when we just have one Swarm Weaver and one Fear of Burning Alive. Our Delirium cards look super playable. I forgot about the artifacts. Glimmerlight and Machete. Those go into the Rakdos deck as well. So that gives me like a 1/1 to sack. But you can't sack artifacts to all the Skin Rippers and any sack card in the format only sacks enchantments and creatures. So the equipments themselves we can't sack, but we can sack the creatures they make. Okay. You know what? Found footage just for digging towards bombs is probably better and sealed than I've been giving it credit for lately. Might run it here. Just digging to the more impactful plays. Although I have to make one more cut, and that seems like the simplest one. Yeah, I mean, I still need to make one more cut. Let's just drop that footage then in the end. Call it a deck here. Simplest run, quickest run, get it over with. Rip the band-aid off here and just see how this field pool is going to do. We could sit here and do another 20 minutes of deliberation, maybe come up with a 5%, maybe 10% better deck looking through the whole sealed pool, but at this point I'm ready to just get in there and get it over with, see what this Jund deck is capable of. So without further ado, let's head into the gameplay and see how this Arena Open wraps up for us this time around. We're on the draw here, but I like the start regardless. Beautiful mana. 2-drop on curve, Moldering Gem to ramp up, or we can play Glimmerlight as a 3-drop. It's a hand that feeds as well. Wow, we can really kind of curve here. Okay. Razorkin Needlehead, that is a bit of an issue. Yeah, the first striker on the play, that's going to be very hard to block. Glimmerlight's going to help us have a 3 toughness blocker up at least. Yeah, super aggressive start. First striker rolling out on the play and dealing extra damage to us every time we draw a card. Okay, Soul Rager is pretty bad most of the time, so at least there's that. Need to play and unlock a room. Until then, that's just a 1/4. 1/4 is still big enough to not attack into unless I Glimmerlight here, but I'm fairly certain we're on the defensive against this Needlehead that's sitting here active at this point. Alright, so let's Glimmerlight up the Piggy Bank Pass. Basically 3 a turn. This is 4 a turn, but these two together is 4 a turn, and we're already down 4 life. Yeah, let's pass. So they draw an extra card every turn, but they have to cast it immediately. Luckily, we hit our own bomb. We got the Swarm Weaver here now. Could double block Piggy Bank. I kill the Needlehead, get a treasure. 2 card types engraved for Swarm Weaver, a 3rd off of Expanse. Don't feel bad. I'm going to play a Swarm Weaver here and have plenty of blocks up anyway. Alright. If they don't block, I do have to play Untapped Land, Swarm Weaver. Balustrade Worm, that is a very good one. Yep, trample. Take it. Well, I don't think their Soul Rager's great, but the 3 other cards they've played being great rares is really bad for me. This doesn't give Death Touch, does it? Oh, it does give Death Touch. Okay, so say it's named Terramorphic Expanse. Try to get to that Delirium here is definitely something. What does the Verge care about? Swamp or Mountain Stick. It's really good. Okay. Land, sorcery. Land, sorcery, instant creature if I leave the gremlin in there. Delirium is probably strong enough here to have to keep the gremlin in there. so that I have a Death Touch blocker for this worm. I'm at 9 life here. I think I need Death Touch. Kill Swarm Weaver. I don't have Death Touch anymore. I've got a 2/2/3/1/1s. Take the 5. If I hold Piggy Bank back, they kill that. I do double block Worm. Feels like another pass. Excellent hits from their Charred Foyer here. Just hitting the land drop for turn is the easiest way to guarantee they draw a card off of it, because then they get to play whatever they want with all their mana. Got 5/5 here against the 5/5 trample. I don't have Graveyard Recursion in this deck, do I? No, we don't have the Recursion in the Sealed Pool, outside of Say Its Name. So we toss the Enchantment Engrave to get a little more redundant on our Delirium. Although I suppose that would be what we want to put in grave even if we did have Graveyard Recursion. 16. They're on a 4-turn clock if I hit them for 4 turn. And now without the Death Touch, I go 5/5 on their 5/5, 4/3 on their 4/4. Yeah. The longer the game goes on, the more likely they are to get ahead off of this Warped Space Charred Foyer thing. They're drawing 2 cards a turn while I'm hitting 1, and one of their draws per turn is getting cast for free. At this point, as long as we're stable-ish on board, we need to chip in as hard as we can and try to end this game in a smaller amount of turns. Pretty nasty. Maybe I should have just put the whole board in front of that, because any trick does trample for a lot. I've actually been reasonable. Oh my god, that's actually really good. At 2, they're going to have 3 blockers up. They can block this and this. Take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Wait, this has Menace. This might be lethal. Oh no, it's a tap land? I can't move the... If I could move the Glimmerlight, this might be lethal. Okay, 3 blocks. This has Menace. So the blocks are double block this, block the 3/2, take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Are you serious right now that this is 1 damage from lethal? And then I die on the crackback. If I picked up my untapped land, this would be lethal this turn. What a way to lose. Oh my god. Block. Block. That's 7 damage. Under the skin. Picks up the needlehead, puts me to 1. If I take 1 damage here, I'm dead. They have the shattered thing. They mill Fear Burning Alive. Oh! That is how this open's going for me. If we just picked up the untapped land, we would have won this game. If they didn't mill into the perfect card in the top 2 off Under the Skin, we would have won this game. Crushing. Well, this opener's really bad. 5 lands is just begging to get flooded because every land drop from there is redundant. We're gonna have to take the mull to 6 here. This is more keepable, but the lack of a black source is a massive issue. Green-red from our opponent. And there's the hasty Wicker Folk on the play. 2 mana, 3/2 haste. Feels bad. I just need to kill it immediately. It's better to reveal this. Alright, Wary Watchdog's the next threat. Better to lock in a turn 4 Swarmweaver than to hold up to break down the door here for just a single manifest. Or just like hope they play a good enchantment. They played a good enchantment. So I suppose holding up break down the door would have been better. Because of course it would have been. Still just play the Swarmweaver. Okay. Swarmweaver is really slowing them down here, which is really helpful. It's going to make the Fear of Exposure super cheap as well. Stick Twister's kind of scary. Pretty happy to be able to exile here for that. Because now exiling the Fear of Exposure means they'll have less Delirium for the Stick Twister. Or just being able to exile the Stick Twister itself if I want to stop the ability instead of the 5/4. Like if they just offer a good trade for the 5/4, I'll do that. Combat Trick on blocks against a bunch of open mana is certainly going to be significantly worse. But if they tap out for the instant speed removal right now, that feels pretty good for me. They've got 1 mana up. And they have 1 mana up to stop this. You take those. They've got Delirium now, though, which is not good. Well, I guess I can flip that up. There's a 4/4 later, maybe. Alright, so we're gonna need to exile the Stick Twister pretty soon. I have to just take 2 here. Can't ditch these, and my board is important. Yep. Dang, I already have an instant engraved, so I can't get the Delirium out of nowhere to have the Death Touch blocker and surprise them. Okay. Stop on their main phase. Put some stops here so that they I can stop before that ability goes on the stack and exile that. Still need that to block there. They have literally nothing. This double block's better, but I expected something here. This turn only. So if they sack this in response, they'll be able to pick it up, but they already have Delirium, so it doesn't matter that it's in the grave. So it'll basically just be them exiling a card. There should not be like a 1-mana instant here that they'd want to cast. They go for it. If nothing else, they probably have Graveyard Recursions. Having that in grave is decent. Yep, so Beastie Beatdown is just gone forever. That is pretty good on this board. That's worth not flipping a 4/4 on blocks. Because attacking him with that, they have to trade with Specialists. Or we start manifesting all over. Ooh. There's the Graveyard Recursion. I wasn't expecting the Graveyard Recursion to literally be the last card in their hand. That kind of punishes me. I was fine with setting it up to where, like, if they top decked Graveyard Recursion a few turns from now, they could do the thing, but the fact that it's just instant is rough. You know, they have the stupid 2/2, so the Survivor sucks too. Getting stick twisted. Guess I should have assumed with green and black from our opponent, we should have just went for the exile. If we did, they still would have gotten a pretty good card here, right? Like, they would have got a 4/3 trample or a 5/4 trample on this board. We'd still be having a bad time. So it wouldn't even have played, like, significantly better. But it certainly would have played better. If I want to discard this to not take the 2, I can just sack it to not take the 2. That is very relevant. I completely forgot about that. Kind of glad I played that. Attic is very good here. The draw 2 in the top deck war. Actually, kind of like a draw 3 because they can use Diversion Specialist as well. Sack it for the 3rd draw. For the Widow's Walk, sure. Oh. Menace Death Touch swing, I see. Yeah. A little rude. Really wanted to move this to Survivor and attack here, so they'd have to double block to stop Survivor from making a 2-2, but now I kind of have to play Weight Room. Weight Room's just too perfect against the Stick Twister. Get a large threat, and then sack it. And I didn't attack any harder there because if I did, I would die to a removal spell in the crackback. Oh my god, that's true. I was like, wait, what is this attack? Double strike death touch, dude. I'm joking. I have to block it with 4 creatures to kill it because they can first strike away 3 with first strike death touch. And then the 4th blocker dies too. But then I would kill it. Jesus Christ. And they would still have double strike death touch shenanigans if it was just some random 5/4 instead of this thing. So if I did exile that again, that extra pressure from the 5/4 makes us make more blocks early. Game plays out pretty much the same way. Not that I made the right play, but I don't think it's like costing us the game here because they would have just gotten something else back. It's just a tiny bit less bad than that Stick Twister. I should have put this on the Fear of Burning Alive. That was wrong. I clicked too fast. Oh, it's 4 mana. Okay, that's why. I think I was like thinking in my head I was gonna do it, and then when I saw that I was in combat, I'm like, oops, I guess I clicked it into combat. Well, this matchup was unwinnable, but they did make me not using Exile pretty embarrassing. Again, still die to like Death Touch Trample Double Strike instead of Death Touch Double Strike Lifelink. 0-2. Some gameplay errors, I think, in both games, but I think both games perfectly played are still losses. My will to commentate has died. This is potentially the final game of our entire Arena Open run, and I am sealed it out. So I am just going to play as best I can and wrap this thing up. I don't say it too often. I try to keep things mainly about the what's the best play, what are the best decks, how to build decks, how to draft decks, stuff like that. I don't really talk about my particular opinions on formats and stuff super often. But I personally would be incredibly happy if I never had to play competitive sealed again, honestly. I think the Lords of Limited very much the same. I feel like sealed, even before the era of play boosters, was definitely a rougher, more high variance way to play limited magic, but in the era of play boosters, sealed is so frustrating because you have games like this, Reluctant Role Model into Unidentified Hovership, and that's an 0-3 from this deck. I even missed the land to exile the Hovership, if it even mattered at this point. Yep. It's the biggest bummer, the biggest part about Arena Opens that I don't enjoy. You just have to play sealed. I don't know. I guess it's the logistics thing is what they've said. But I wish you didn't have to play sealed to play competitive limited. That is one of the biggest things holding me back from playing super competitive limited stuff super often. Is that every competitive limited event on Arena is sealed. And in paper, right? Like I'm going to be playing the 100K at Vegas and it's sealed. Every Arena Open is sealed today, one to get to the draft. I think that's what I always say is like the goal is just to get to the drafts so I can play competitive drafts. That's what I would really enjoy doing. So the goal is always to try to slog it through the sealed to get to the day 2 draft. But yeah, the 100K tournament at Vegas is sealed day 1. The qualifier weekend event this month is sealed. The qualifier weekend event every month is sealed, and it's sealed day 1 and day 2, which is extra gross. But I can't even play this weekend's qualifier, or this month's qualifier weekend anyway. I got prior plans. Wow. Deck does not even want to give me a shot here at this point. I think I'm a little too frustrated at this point. I'm just misclick punting with the all attack button. Well, on the plus side, had I held my 2/2 Glimmer back, it would only be a chum blocker there. And then I would still monumentally lose this game. Alright, turn 2 Role Model, turn 3 Hovership on the play seems strong. And curve out every other turn with every point of mana. 0-3 to end the Duskmourn Arena Open run. Yep, is what it is. That's sealed for you. I thought we had some decent decks the second and third run, but we just could not quite get there. There were some misplays here or there, but more than anything, it felt like just getting crushed by some variants, some insanely strong curve outs with insanely strong rares, and some real bad mana draws. Is what it is, and that is going to pull me out of the Arena Open this time around. So 3 runs is about all I do each time around. Don't have infinite time or infinite money towards it. And honestly, even if I did, I would probably play it out and try super hard to make it to day 2. But I would just get more frustrated as things go on. It's hard not to with an 0-3 with a deck like this here. I definitely do a lot of living vicariously through other streamers as well. Like I watch Newmod a lot do these Arena Opens, and feels like he's got a similar mindset around it where I have seen some of his Arena Opens where he's had to do like 7 or 8 runs, and I'm like, there's no way I could do that. I do not have the patience for that, even if I had infinite gems. But he's also got a lot of just immediate day 1, immediate make it into day 2, so happy to see those as well. I would prefer a lot of runs like that where I can just get lucky and just first time's the charm. Just get me to day 2. That's all I ask. Day 2, if I lose, then fine. I drafted poorly and played poorly or whatever. But I feel like I have so much more agency in draft than sealed, just in general, and that is what That's the format I really love. So it's awkward that it's so heavily tied with sealed because there's such a disparity between my enjoyment of the two formats where I would almost rather play constructed than sealed. I don't think it's quite at that level, but sealed is not my jam. And when we 0-3 our 3 attempts, we didn't 0-3 each attempt, but did 3 attempts, lost each time. It's certainly a rough weekend. It's a sad one. But 3 shots and I'm out. It's getting late, I'm getting tired, and I'm getting frustrated, and that's not going to make for great content, even if I do play more from here. So it is what it is. The arena pools giveth, the arena sealed pools taketh away. And today they took away everything in my account, all of our gems and gold. But that's okay. We're still up a couple $1,000s on arena from some of the other arena opens. Still a net positive here, even if they ripped all of my Monopoly bucks away this time around. But that's going to do it for the Duskmourn House of Horror Limited Arena Open, at least the first one. If there is a second one, I will be playing that. And if not, that means that the Foundations Arena Open is just around the corner, which should be pretty exciting. So still going to be plenty more competitive Magic in the near future. Hopefully some better sealed runs so we can get to the good stuff, which to me is the drafting that time around. But for now, we're the losers. We are the enemies in the hero stories of our opponents' runs here. Somebody's got to lose the games of Magic. Somebody's got to let the other players get their 7-win runs. And today, that was us. But that is going to end today's video. As always, I'd like to thank my patrons and YouTube members for their support, as well as you for watching the video. If you enjoyed it or are interested in seeing some more, you can always like, comment, and subscribe to tell the YouTube algorithm to send you some more on your recommended feed. If you'd like to catch me live, you can check out the Twitch channel in the link in the description below, and if you'd like to support the channel directly, you can check out the Patreon link in the description below. But other than that, as always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon for some more Magic Arena.